So I think going across towards tomorrow and towards the latter stages of today, those will certainly be teams to be reckoned with.
Pryor Foundation versus Aylesbury Grammar School, kicking off here in Group B, next game on the RE1 pitch. There are hordes of players now all around us here down below us from our commentary vantage, messing about, perhaps warming up for games yet to come, or perhaps setting themselves up for later in the afternoon. As we see an early try from Aylesbury Grammar School, attacking from left to right. Coming up against the Pryor Foundation. Aylesbury starting as they're, I'm sure, mean to go on. They reached the round of 16 in the 2013 Rosslyn Park HSBC National School Sevens tournament, and they're down in that stage, and they're looking to get their pool off to the perfect start. They have done there with an early try. Priory looking to go out right, but have been turned over immediately, and Aylesbury bringing it back to this near touchline, and there's a bit of a gap there, and he goes for it, offload. It's all about this tackle, and that is a brilliant covering tackle, last ditch. It would have been a certain try without it. Chris has spoken so much today about the importance of defence, and we've seen it once again there, but Aylesbury have done brilliantly to offload, recycle, shift it left. They have men over, the covering defence is strong, the tackle missed, spins out of it, offloads 5 metres out. The cover is superb from the Pryor, and the ball is not done.
That's fantastic cover defence there. Never say die attitude that we've talked about over the course of the tournament this morning. You know, really never gave up. Always trying to stifle out the attack there. I think maybe just one offload too many in the corner, but you know, eventually turning the ball over, and we'll see what happens here with this restart.
Ball was knocked on and then touched down. So the Priory will kick off. But Aylesbury regain possession immediately and look to go up and rectify the mistake of having knocked on so close to the try line. Instead they knock on again. The Priory struggling to get out of their own half. But while Aylesbury can't find that second try, they'll know they are still well in this match. Scrum down to the Priory. The Pryor, should I say, not the Priory. Pryor Foundation, desperate to get out of their own territory. Try staging an attack of their own. Ball pops straight out of the scrum. Referee will reset it. Ball pops straight out of the back of the scrum. Cleared though, and well cleared as well actually. Aylesbury having to turn and run back, and the man up first has done brilliantly. It's a 50-metre gain there for the Prior, but Aylesbury retained possession. Hitch kick almost works, the ball dropped backwards. Referee keeping up with play and saying it was knocked backwards so the game can continue, and Aylesbury needs to exploit this overlap. Pace from the man in blue boots. Well, Chris, you've talked about the old flashy footwear a couple of times today, and I think that man again justifies wearing blue. He's raced away to score there.
Yeah, I think he's one that we can let off for having flashy footwear. Just to go back to our discussion earlier on about defence, Aylesbury Grammar School seems to be adopting that honeypot effect defence, which isn't very conducive to the game of rugby sevens. Just making it really, really easy there for the Prior Foundation to move the ball into the gas man, as we so rightly pointed out, with his flashy boots, hands, and he just easily cruised around the outside because there was no defence there opposing him. So
a call for the
for Aylesbury Grammar, they need to get their defensive shape right. Talking about the 7-up that we've seen, so it worked so well for Whitgift earlier on this morning. Spread the field, fill the field. Don't give them the space to run into the gap. There's obviously a gas man there. Don't give him the opportunity with the ball in hand to run into free, open running space.
Aylesbury lead 10-0. 2 tries, unconverted both, but still in a decent position at this stage. Chris, you've spoken about it all day, and I hate to go on about it, but it is so true. Everyone sees rugby sevens as this expansive game and an exciting game, which of course it is, but you don't get anywhere without the defensive basis, and we've seen, as you said, from Sunside, we see a huge clear out there, the ball knocked on. Some of the best sides today have been so good because their defensive structure has been solid. They haven't staggered the defence, they've been up as a team. And is that, in many ways, is that sort of the basis where, when you're starting out in rugby sevens, before you think about anything special going forward, it's about not conceding tries, which is ultimately the basis?
I think with rugby sevens, it's such a magnifying glass of putting your skills under pressure, and we talk about defence a lot today, and I think we'll see a lot of teams that will progress through into the latter stages will be because they've got a fantastic defence and because they don't give any respite. And what we've seen, as we see a missed tackle there, so nicely timed in what we're talking about, that in a one-on-one individual missed tackle has led to Aylesbury getting in behind, unfortunately forcing the knock on. However, going back to our point being, good defensive shape, good defensive structure will nullify most attacks in this tournament, and it's about getting that right first and really building through the stages of the tournaments going on and making sure you've got your defensive structure sound, because as the tournaments develop, as teams tire, if you don't give them any space to attack, people will run out of ideas and might not necessarily be able to break you down, and then you can get the opportunity by turning the ball over, moving the ball to space, hoping that you have a gas man within your side to run the ball in.
Prior looking to hit back after Aylesbury's 2 early tries. And, has he knocked it on?
Cardinal sin there, not having the ball in 2 hands. Unfortunately, great leg drive to break through. Unfortunately, as you can see there, the player being frustrated with himself and throwing his scrum hat off. You can't. You talk about the basics. You talked about the defence. You talked about the attack. One of the basics in rugby is keep hold of the ball. Do not let it go. Don't put it into one hand. Always put the ball down with 2 hands. And I think he'll be ruining kicking himself there for the rest of the day, because that would have tied things up nicely going into the second half.
It's the final act of the first half, and it looked as if the Priory might be about to break back into this match, but Aylesbury still lead 10-0, should I say. And that chance has gone begging. As Chris said, brilliantly to break through the tackle. He'd done the hard part. The easy part was tapping it down, but I think, to be fair, the Aylesbury covering defenders made that a little bit more difficult for him. Half time then. A couple of quick team talks before the second half. The Prior Foundation then to kick off this second half on the RE1 pitch here on the first day's play in the annual Rosslyn Park HSBC National School Sevens tournament. It's already been a thrilling day. We've had some close matches, some tight battles. And the Prior Foundation will be hoping that they could turn this game into one. Aylesbury leading 10-0 after 2 first half tries. Prior almost coming back into it, going in under the posts, but knocking the ball on at the key moment with the final play of the first half, and it's a similar handling error at the start of the second. So it'll be a scrum down. 2 games left before the break. A short break in play here on the central pitch. Skinners against Abingdon is up next in Group E before Blundell's take on Stamford in Group H. At the moment we're concerned with Group B and the Prior's attempts to break back into this game against Aylesbury. Any plans for lunch, Chris? What are you fancying?
Surveying the land. I could keep getting wafts of hog roast as we're still up here, so I might have to venture down there for a bite to eat, and see what else is out there. I think.
Absolutely, I think I agree with you there. Might be heading over there. Of course, if you're watching from home and you fancy getting down to the Rosslyn Park HSBC National School Sevens tournament, well, it's on all week here at the Richardson Evans pitches in southwest London. If you can't come down today, you've still got 4 more days of fantastic rugby action. If the weather stays like this, it will be a perfect 5 days, I can tell you that. So if you fancy coming down, please do. As we said, around 8,000 spectators expected across the 5 days, and so far the people who've turned up today have been treated to some fantastic stuff. Certainly see here on the RE1 pitch, the stand on the far side starting to fill up as Aylesbury come on the attack down this near side touchline. There's an overlap available, but that man has made 2 tackles back to back and he's joined by his teammate in the red scrum cap, but Aylesbury somehow break out of the tackle. The offloading is good, almost an interception there, and he'd have been racing away under the post surely for a 7-pointer. Instead, the defensive line a bit staggered now because of it, and Aylesbury looking for the gaps, and they've got an overlap if they can make it work. It's a 3-on-1 really, 4-on-1, but it's not going to have to go through the hands anymore. It's another try for Aylesbury. The man in the blue boots, as he's come to be known, scores his 2nd of this game and perhaps wraps the game up for Aylesbury. It's been a cagey one and the Prior looked strong, but Aylesbury have been clinical when they needed to be, and that's a 3rd try, and they made the overlap count there.
They did, and we talk about that defence again, and you know they kept the ball alive really well there. The Prior Foundation moved the ball from side to side, and unfortunately Aylesbury's defence just got lured in too much to being caught around that original offload on the far touchline. But it's fantastic to see them using the ball and utilising the space so well in attack.
Decent conversion attempt, but just short and wide. Just down here, Chris, I'm just seeing down to the left of us. I don't know what these guys are having a go at. There seems to be some kind of passing game. Not sure what's happening. Perhaps honing their skills for later on in the afternoon. But another great thing about the day here is there's so much else going on other than the rugby. So many little tents and games available, tackle bags as we saw over there. Also, you mentioned some of the places set up for food. You come down, not only is it a great day to watch fantastic Rugby Sevens youngsters, but also it's a good day out.
Yeah, fantastic day. I mean, it's a festival of rugby after all, and that's one of the fantastic things about Rugby Sevens is it's a fun day out for all involved. As we see a really powerful drive for the line here from the Prior Foundation, and unfortunately Aylesbury just giving away another penalty from going in at the side, and I think this game is done and dusted there.
Good finish, tapping and go. The defensive line was staggered. makes the score 20-0, I believe, at this stage. With a conversion to come, another difficult one. Would be an impressive one to get. It's got the legs, but it's just wide of the right upright.
Just going back to what we were discussing about how fantastic sevens is. It's fun for all the family. We're seeing the youth of today running around here playing the fantastic game, but also so many people down watching as well and getting involved. And that's one of the great things about sevens, is it's usually a 2-day event. We're fortunate here it being a 5-day event, and it involves everybody and everybody coming down and having fun, whether that be small children all the way through to adults, and enjoying the festivities and the fun, expansive rugby on the field.
In terms of international rugby sevens, that's obviously one of the highlights. I think a lot of people watch at home the Hong Kong sevens, your Las Vegas sevens, all of those big events around the world, and it feels like much more than a rugby tournament. It feels like a party. And is that something special to be a part of?
It's fantastic. I mean, not only are we seeing a great festival of rugby here, but also across the globe, it certainly has that atmosphere of festivities and enjoyment. And you've only got to look at the London Sevens that will be held on May the 16th and 17th. This year, it's day one is definitely sort of honed towards the fancy dress and going down and having a good day out with your mates, and then on the Sunday they managed to turn the stadium around and turn it into a fantastic family event. And it's great to see the little kids running around on the concourse there at Twickenham, at the home of rugby, and enjoying a great brand of rugby sevens being played on the international stage.
Definitely one to look out for there in Twickenham in May. Fancy dress. Interesting one. Any ideas?
What are you coming out this year?
Well, I think the last fancy dress I went as Tinky Winky from the Teletubbies. I was one of 4. We did the lot.
Interesting. That could work with this year's theme, being the Pixar and all the Disney cartoons. So.
Yeah, because I could. That'd be an interesting one. A Disney character. I don't know who I'd go as.
What Disney character would you be?
Big Aladdin fan, I have to say. Growing up, that was probably one of my favourites. So could pull that off. Possibly just go along with a carpet.
Yep.
What about yourself?
Turn up on your carpet and swoop in.
Would be that's high production cost. High production cost. Pryor breaking down the right hand side there, looking to get themselves back into the game. What about yourself then, Chris?
You can see here the Pryor Foundation are actually getting their line speed up. The Aylesbury are defending as narrow as attacking as narrow as they're defending, and it's easy for the Pryor Foundation to just sweep up and really nullify anything to do with the Aylesbury attack. Hence forcing the turnover. Great work at the breakdown. But I think Aylesbury, as they move through this tournament, have got to look at the width that they're playing with in attack and in defence. And it's something that we've seen the top teams going through this junior tournament this morning. The width gifts of this tournament that have been using width in defence and in attack to snuff out anything, and also to then make sure they run through to score some fantastic tries that we saw them running in this morning.
Remember, you can get in touch with us. #RPNS7s Live. If you want to have your say on anything so far, if you want to pick a team who you think might go all the way, we've seen a few good ones today. Aylesbury were one of those today, as they prove successful in this clash. Next up, it's Skinners against Abingdon. But as I say, if you're on Twitter and watching the live stream today, brought to you courtesy of Serious Stuff, then please do #RPNS7s Live. And get in touch. So, welcome back to the RE1 pitch here at Rosslyn Park HSBC National School Sevens Tournament 2015. We've already seen a fantastic morning and early afternoon of rugby here on the main pitch and across the expanse of rugby fields, and just kicked off